budget.
Absolutely.
Mr. Belmont,
Thank you. I have a job.
please stand up, Mr. Belmont.
Thank you. I have a job working in a lab on campus, and I have a boss, and he tells me things to do. If he wants me to find the real logical property of this material, the scholastic shear rate, I have goals that I have to meet. If I don't meet them, I get fired. I lose my job. I have very concrete things that I need to do. And I have more abstract things like get this paper done or this grant, like edit that, you know, more abstract things. I'm not entirely sure how my accountability for this job relates to the accountability that would go towards a director of programming or a director of homecoming, or what it would mean for a committee to fail at something as much as student involvement. I don't know what it means to fail homecoming. Like, the people who have done a good job, but I wouldn't know what a bad job looks like. I don't know what it would mean to say, you know what, you didn't bring 10,000 people, you're fired. No one would do that. And by having such lax principles, by not stating what it is you want specifically accomplished, such fancy notions as, I want more student involved, I want more people becoming leaders, how does someone fail at a job like that?
Very easily, actually. How does homecoming fail? By not putting our contracts through on time and violating state law that gets us sued. That's how people fail at jobs. People fail at jobs when they don't spend money appropriately. People fail at jobs when they are given metrics from the beginning. And I think you're assuming that we wouldn't give these people metrics. We would say, all right, we would like, our goal for this year is to see a measured increase in attendance at the bonfire, in the parade, or whatever. And so their job would be to go out and make those things happen. And so whether hopefully they would fulfill them, they do the best of their ability. If they don't meet them, you know, okay.
Who fires them?
Who fires people?
Who would fire them?
Excuse me, sir.
But then I'll ask,
You
who would
have
fire
to
them?
be addressed by the chair.
Oh, well, am I still addressed?
Go ahead, Mr. Belmont.
Then who would fire them?
The director of the individual departments for home programming or homecoming, whatever. Those are the people that will ultimately be accountable. If those people are not ensuring accountability among their staff, then they're the ones who are fired.
All right, the next person on the list will be Senator Lemon. Senator Newsom.
Okay, I do not trust a $1.6 million to solely go to the administrators. They would be the one overseeing this budget. As it stands right now, the student government, and I understand that you're trying to separate the two, but the student government holds everybody accountable to our $1.4 million budget. And, hold on, in that, I'm going to echo what Senator Gracie said, or Senator Jeremiah said. When more than half of the budget goes to administrators, that is not okay. This is students' money. This is for student planning on campus. So therefore, it should be voted by students. Students should be voted into office to actually administer all these, to hold everybody accountable. And I know you've talked about accountable by being a job, but homecoming is not accountable like a real job. I also work at the front desk. It is not, when they only make about $10,000 a year. I work at the front desk hourly. I have to do all my jobs appropriately or I will get fired. It is much different from doing one event a year that they're only accountable for that, and you cannot see that until the end of the year, and what's the point then? You can't necessarily fire them. That's pretty much what I have to say.
Director Steitler.
There's a couple things I'd like to address, just from a purely programming standpoint. I do have 2 years of experience on the programming board, and in discussions that I've had with President Riley, specifically about what the nature of the Student Activity Center would be, I think a lot of this is kind of just maybe misunderstanding. One of the big things that you guys had talked about was student involvement and kind of like a student voice for what kind of programs and how programs are going to be carried out. Currently, we've gone 2 years without a direct advisor. Not only that, but last year we had less than half of our board for almost half the year filled because we just couldn't hire people to do this job. We didn't even have the capacity to fill all of the positions on the board last year. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to find people to program. It really, really is. Let alone the fact that it's hard to go out to a campus of 16,000 undergraduate students when so few are involved and say, what kind of programs do you guys want to see on campus? It's really, really difficult. I've been trying to do it for 2 years. I beat my head against the wall sometimes trying to do it. It's hard. I promise you that. The creation of a student activity center would create larger and more specific committees for all of these events. Ideally, again, for Welcome Week, Mackey Week, any kind of event you can think of, whatever categories or committees were developed, I guarantee you would get more attention and have more students on them than the core group of committee members that we have for the first time in years this year. So essentially what we'll be seeing is more student involvement in the planning process and the brainstorming for all of these events. This will provide more student voice through these larger and more involved committees. I can promise you that. Because it is very, very difficult for us at this point with the capacity that we have to even have a single committee for Flipside Productions and to get them to continuously show up, develop them as incoming programmers, and make sure that they have the ability to become a programmer in the future. Because, like I said, we haven't even had an advisor since I got this job. I mean, there will be more student involvement through this process. And to kind of address whether or not we have, as ASUN or as Flipside Productions, the capacity to, in my opinion, and based on my experience, successfully program for, again, 16 to 17,000 undergraduate students successfully, I absolutely 100% disagree with the fact that we have enough at our disposal to do that. Can we get over 1,000 students to show up to the quad at midnight for pancakes? Yeah, we can. That's 1,000 students out of 16 to 17,000 that show up, get pancakes, hang out for a little while, and leave. Do we have the capacity to get thousands of students to take part in a large-scale event where they're possibly providing, let's say, service around the community, or like Mackey Day used to be, where all the students on campus did all the grounds work and stuff on campus for the day? Absolutely not. We do not have the capacity to do that. Again, we hardly have the capacity or the ability to get a solid committee of 30 to 40 people on a regular basis. This is necessary if we would like to see the degree of programming that creates lifelong members of the University of Nevada Wolfpack. Again, it's like something that was touched on in the Senate meeting earlier, is that the same thing that I tell my programmers as much as I can, that this isn't event planning. The core purpose of campus programming is to define the student experience for the undergraduate body on campus. If we can't successfully provide the kind of an experience that creates a connection to the university, then how can we A, expect them to stick around long enough to graduate, and B, expect them to possibly donate to the university or become advocates for the university when we're facing a 49% budget cut? What's going to happen if we don't have students who still feel like they're a part of the campus when they graduate? I know that sounds kind of weird, but coming from a programming standpoint, that is our main goal, to create the kind of experience that keeps people involved after they graduate. And we are failing at that. We're doing the best we can, but I guarantee you we are not doing the job that Ohio State does. And when someone goes out and they graduate and they're making millions and millions of dollars, you know, doing God knows what because of the degree they got here, if they don't have any connection to the university, they're not going to make any donations. We're not going to have any buildings named after that person because they came here, they went to school, and they went home. They took their classes, they got their degree, and they bounced. And we're trying to avoid that. But I'm telling you right now, with the capacity that we have, we are failing. And we are failing the students of this university in offering that service. And the Student Activity Center is proven to be successful at so many other universities that it would be, in my opinion, a disservice not to at least try to move toward this for the undergraduate student body. Again, like I said, I have 2 years of programming experience, and as much as I'd like to take credit for any kind of improvements we've had, we are failing. And it's unfortunate to say that, but it's because we don't have enough.
Senator Neely, you were next.
Withdraw.
Senator Kearney.